So this is the Gen 1 CAA MCK kit, and this particular model is made for the Glock platform. And this is the Gen 2 CAA MCK kit, and this one is also made for the Glock platform. In fact, when you go to order one of these kits, you either got to get it make specific or model specific. Now this is the CAA MCK EVO. And even though this kit looks a lot like the Gen 1 and the Gen 2, this one is actually completely different. Because this EVO kit, it works with over 100 different guns. Before we get into this video, I want to go over a couple things real quick. CAA did send this out to the channel for me to do a review on. The second thing, I've already done a full unboxing video on this kit. We went over all the specs, the features. I also went into a lot of detail on how to set this up and how to use this kit. And we also went over the different packages they offer. So I would suggest that you go back and watch that video first before you watch this video. Now, if you don't want to go back and watch the first video, I'm going to bring the list up on the screen of all the different guns that this kit will work with, and you can pause it and check it out. Because all we're doing in this video is taking the first shots with this kit and talking about my first impressions and what I like and dislike about this kit. Now, in the last video, I explained to you why I set this kit up the way I did. I actually have the Rost Martin RM1C in this kit, which is not on the compatibility list. But you're going to see in this video that it works pretty well in this kit. Now, the reason I chose to put the RM1C in this kit is because I carry the RM1C comp every day. And the original RM1C and the RM1C comp use the same mags, and I've got a lot of Rost Martin magazines. So I thought if I wanted to take this MCK with the RM1C in it and throw it in a backpack or throw it in my truck, this thing is going to use the same exact mags as my carry gun. And the only other thing I did with this was add the Gowatar B22 red dot. Now, I've done quite a few videos on these different kits, and we've gone back and forth whether these are just fun range toys or if these are a viable self-defense or home defense option. And when I did the review on this Gen 2 a few years ago, I did say in that video that I thought that this was more than just a fun range toy. Because the Gen 2 and the Gen 1 MCK kits, especially if you're using Glock, they're very reliable. Now, one of the big advantages to having a kit like this, even though it's just running a handgun inside, is you have a lot more points of contact. You've got your brace, whether you decide to use it like a brace or shoulder it. They have optional gas pedals or thumb ledges, whatever you want to call it, so you can really bear down on the front. So a kit like this, for most people, is going to make them quite a bit more accurate than just shooting their handgun without the kit. The other really cool option with these kits is the ability to carry extra magazines. You got your mag in the gun. This particular model, I can carry a backup mag on the mag carrier on the brace. And this is going to be one of the cons when we get to the pros and cons list. But right now, I've got a plug in here. But you can take this out and you can carry an extra mag in the front. But there's a catch to that. And we're going to get into that when we get into the pros and cons. And one other thing that I think makes these a great option is they're pretty compact. Even with the brace extended, this is still a really compact package. But if you want to make it even more compact, well, This has a folding brace, and now you've got a really compact package. And they did a really nice job on this brace. It is spring-loaded, so it will stay, but you can deploy it very fast. Now, like I said, when we did the unboxing video on this, we went into a lot of detail on how to put the gun in this kit and how it works with over 100 different guns. But up in the front, on the inside of the kit, there is basically a track in there, and your 1913 rail on your handgun is going to lock into that track. Now, I know this question is going to come up. What if I'm running a Glock and I've only got that single slot rail, or I'm running the 365 or the 365 XL and I don't have a slotted rail, or I'm running a Glock 43X. Well, I showed you in that video that when you get this kit, well, the adapters are in there for all of those guns. So let's say you're going to run a 365. You're going to take the 365 adapter that comes with the kit. You're going to slide it into that 1913 track until it locks in, and then you're going to slide your SIG into that adapter. And the second reason why this works so well with so many different guns is in the back. So you've got this gate right here, and as you can see, we have a beaver tail adapter. And when you get your box opened up that your kit comes in, well, there's probably 15 to 20 different beaver tail adapters in there. And you're just going to have to play around with them to figure out which one works with the gun you want to use. And the reason I bring that up is just because your gun is not on that compatibility list doesn't mean it's not going to work with this kit. Now, once you find that right beaver tail adapter, you're just going to push this up, and you have to push this forward. Mine's a little tight, so I just hold it up like this, wait till I hear it click, and everything is locked in. Now, another big upgrade to the EVO versus the Gen 1 and the Gen 2, this basically used a side charger. And once you got your gun all locked in the kit, to charge it, you just used the side charger. And it is ambi. You have that on both sides. Doesn't matter if you're using the Gen 1 or the Gen 2, they're both ambi when it comes to the charging handle. But they went a totally different direction with the EVO. This is using an AR style charging handle, and it is an ambi handle. You can charge it from either side, and it works very well. The other cool thing about the EVO, depending on which kit you decide to go with, it does come with backup sights. Now, they are polymer sights. They are spring-loaded. They are ambi. You can release them on the left or the right side of both the sights. The front sight, the elevation is adjustable, and the rear sight, the windage is adjustable. The front sight, you've got like a fiber optic orange rod, and on the rear sight, you basically have a fiber optic green rod around your peephole sight. Now, these sights are plastic, they're not metal, so if your optic goes down, well, you can flip up your sights, and you can co-witness right through your optic, depending on what mount you're using on your optic. Now, as far as my shooting experience goes with this, I always have a lot of fun with these kits when I take them to the range, and this EVO was no different. I ended up racking up 400 rounds on this, and it's quite comfortable. I like the brace. I like having the gas pedal or the thumb ledge out here. You can put another one on this side if you want to. I'm a wrong-handed shooter, so I just have it over here. If you're a right-handed shooter, obviously you're going to put it over here. Now, when it comes to mounting an optic on this or using the backup sights, you do have a 1913 rail all the way across the top. And the rail on this particular model is metal, because on the Gen 1, they were plastic. But you've got quite a bit of real estate here on top, so even if you wanted to run a dot with a magnifier behind it, you got that option. So let's get into my pros and cons with this CAA MCK EVO. We're going to do the cons first, but I've got quite a few cons with this. And I know it's going to seem like I don't like this kit. I actually do like it. And I had a lot of fun making this video. But there's some things that need to be fixed and changed if they're going to come out with another generation of this kit. My number one con with this is the extra mag carrier up in the front. I've got the plug in there right now, and that's because I cannot put a Rost Martin mag up in the front. And it frustrates me because this kit is designed to work with over 100 different handguns, but it only works with Glock mags, and it's specific Glock mags. So you're pretty much stuck to your 9mm and your 40 cal mags. So your Glock 22, 19, 17, you will be able to carry an extra mag up here in the front. The mag carrier on the back comes with shims, so you can carry a bunch of different mags in the mag carrier on the back. This is also a con too, because the Rost Martin runs on CZ pattern mags. I've got the CZ shim in this mag carrier. Now, it seems to be pretty solid. Problem is, when you start shooting it, well, this mag likes to start walking forward, and eventually it will just fall out onto the ground. Basically how this works, there's a shim you put in here, whether you're using Glock mags, SIG mags, CZ mags, you name it. And then this has a rubber band that goes around it. I've used mag carriers like this in the past. They work pretty well when they're vertical and your mags are going down into the pouch. But when they're horizontal like this, they walk forward. Now, I was able to fix this by taking a piece of Velcro, the hard side, and I put it on the inside of the carrier, and now my mag will stay put. But back to the front mag carrier. You made this mag carrier on the back universal, but not the one on the front. So in the future, I would like to see them maybe widen this out a little bit where they have different adapters you can put in here to carry the mag up in the front that you're using in the handgun inside the kit. My next con with this kit is I did have two malfunctions. These kits are prone to stovepipes, and it's pretty easy to see why. You've got your handgun inside the kit. Your shell casings are going to eject out the side right here, just like they do on any handgun. The problem you're going to run into is you've got this opening right here, and you've got this rail right here, and the shell casings have a tendency sometimes to fly up, get stuck right here instead of ejecting, and it will cause a malfunction. And it happened twice with this gun out of those 400 rounds. But that goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Are you going to use this for a range toy, or are you going to use this for some serious self-defense or home defense? Well, those two malfunctions might steer you away from doing that. And a lot of that is going to have to do with what gun you decide to run in here. Like I said, when you run these with Glocks, they tend to run 100% reliable. And I'm not holding it against the kit, because I am running a gun in here that was not on the compatibility list. My next con with this, the backup sights that came with this. If you notice throughout all the shooting footage in this video, the front sight was pretty much up the whole time. And that's because every time I flipped it down, when I went to fire the first shot, well, it went up on its own. And now we're going to talk about the last con with this. If you're going to run your handgun in one of these kits, they get extremely dirty. I got carbon all over up here in the front, coming out of these cuts, and this gun was cleaned and lubed before I took it to the range, and this is what it looks like after 400 rounds. Alright, so I'm done with the cons. Let's get into the pros. The first pro we already talked about, but it is the points of contact on this kit. Most people are going to shoot more accurate with their handgun inside this kit than not inside the kit. And speaking of that, one thing we need to bring up real quick, if you carry a pistol with an optic on it, well, you're not going to be able to put it inside this kit. I'm perfectly okay with that because, like I said, this RM1C has been sitting in my safe ever since I got my comp. I wasn't shooting it, so this was perfect candidate to put inside this kit. The next pro with this kit was also a con, but if you're going to run a Glock in this kit, well, you're going to be able to carry 3 mags. You're going to have the one on the back, the one in the gun, and the one out here on the front, and the extra mag carrier. This kit would be absolutely awesome using it with a Glock 19 or Glock 17, Glock 45. I'm not sure if you'd be able to get a fun stick here in the back without hitting up into here, but you could have one in the gun and one up in the front. But then you have the ability to carry a lot of extra rounds on this kit. The next pro with this is just how compact it is. Like I said earlier, even with the brace out, it's still a nice compact package. But once you fold that brace up, this thing's going to fit pretty much anywhere. The next pro with this, if you look up here in the front, Well, I have a light on here, and I know the question's going to come up. Did the light hold up to the 400 rounds? Because the light, it's made out of plastic. But yes, it did hold up. But this is another option when you buy this kit. You can also get a light, and there's a slot right here in the front that you just push this in and it locks in. And if you choose to get the kit without the light, and you do have your 1913 rail on this side and on this side, if you want to mount one of your favorite lights to this kit. My next pro with this, I like the fact that they went to the AR style charging handle. For me, it just works better than the side charger they had on the Gen 1 and the Gen 2 kit. The next pro with this, if you are a right-handed shooter, you do have access to your slide stop, slide lock, slide release, whatever you want to call it. But if you're a wrong-handed shooter like me and you have an ambi pistol in here, you do not have access to that slide lock. And my last pro with this kit, these are just a lot of fun to take to the range and point around with. Not every gun has to be duty ready or duty use. You can actually buy guns and have fun. It's okay. Now, as far as prices go, I'm just going to have you go to the CAA website because there's a lot of prices to go over on this. Because there's a basic kit, there's an advanced kit, there's a kit where you can get everything they have like I have here. You're just going to have to go over and check out the prices. I really do want to thank CAA for sending this out to the channel. I am a big fan of these kits. Done a lot of reviews on a lot of different ones on the channel. And I had an absolute blast filming this video with this. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe. And I'll see you on the next one.